The blue-white light of Earth shrank in the viewport as Captain Ju Hyun watched her homeworld grow smaller. Her uniform felt tight around her neck today. Not because it didn't fit, but because of what it meant. Today, she carried the weight of 8 billion lives on her shoulders. "Captain Hyun, we will dock with the Stellar Assembly vessel in 5 minutes," said the pilot. Hyun nodded. She stood straight, her hands clasped behind her back. 10 years in Earth's Defense Force had taught her how to look calm even when she wasn't. 3 months ago, the Stellar Assembly had arrived in Earth's orbit. Giant ships, unlike anything humans had built, appeared without warning. The world had held its breath, waiting for either peace or destruction. What came instead was an invitation. "We welcome Earth to apply for membership in the Stellar Assembly," the alien message had said. "Send your best representative for testing." The world's leaders had argued for weeks about who to send. Some wanted to send a scientist. Others wanted to send a politician. In the end, they chose Hyun. "Your military record shows you can fight," President Lee had told her. "But your peacekeeping missions show you can make peace. We need both." Hyun looked at the small metal case beside her. Inside was a simple data drive. On it were Earth's history, art, science, and laws. Everything that made humans who they were. The shuttle shook as it entered the massive alien ship. Through the window, Hyun could see the docking bay. It was huge, with strange ships from what must be other worlds. The walls glowed with soft green light. "Good luck, Captain," said the pilot as the door opened. "My daughter wants to see the stars someday. Make sure she gets the chance." Hyun stepped into the alien ship. The air felt different, cleaner, but with a strange, sweet smell. 2 beings waited for her. They looked almost human, but their skin had a purple tone and their eyes were too large. "I am Ambassador Krell," said the taller one. His voice sounded like it came through water. "This is Director Voris. We welcome Earth's candidate." Hyun bowed slightly. "Captain Ju Hyun of Earth. I bring greetings from my world." "You bring weapons as well," said Voris, looking at Hyun's military uniform with its medals and rank markings. Her voice was higher than Krell's, like metal on glass. "I bring experience," Hyun answered, "in both war and peace." Krell made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Most species send politicians or scholars. Humans send a soldier." "Interesting." They led her down a long hallway. Other aliens walked past. Some had too many limbs. Others had none at all. Some looked at Hyun with curiosity. Others with what seemed like pity. "The Stellar Assembly includes over 300 species," Krell explained, "all living in harmony, all having passed the tests you will now face." "What kind of tests?" Hyun asked. "Tests of compatibility," said Voris, "to see if humans can live peacefully with others, to see if your species can put aside its violent past." They stopped at a door that opened into a small room. Inside was a bed, a desk, and what looked like a bathroom. "Rest today," said Krell. "Tomorrow we begin the peace test. Many species fail. We hope humans will not." After they left, Hyun placed her hand on the window, looking out into space. Somewhere out there was Earth, counting on her. She unpacked the small bag she had brought. Under her clothes was a second smaller data drive, one that President Lee didn't know about, one that General Park had given her in secret. "The official drive has what we want them to know about us," the general had said. "This one has what you might need to know about them." Hyun hid the secret drive and sat on the bed. She had studied the official reports about the Stellar Assembly. They promised peace, knowledge, and advancement. But in her years as a soldier, Hyun had learned one important truth. People who promise only good things are usually hiding something bad. Tomorrow would tell if she was right to worry. Hyun woke to a soft chime. The room's lights came on slowly, brightening like a sunrise. On the wall, numbers flashed. She had 30 minutes to prepare. After a quick shower in water that felt too thick, Hyun put on her dress uniform. Earth's leaders had debated this too. Should she wear civilian clothes? But Hyun had insisted on her uniform. I won't pretend to be something I'm not, she had said. A knock came at her door. It opened to reveal a being unlike the others she had seen. This one had scales instead of skin, green and gold that shimmered in the light. It stood on 2 legs but had 4 arms. Hello, Earth human, the being said in perfect Korean. I am Talo. I will show you to breakfast. Hyun hid her surprise that this alien spoke her language. Thank you, Talo. You speak Korean very well. Talo's mouth opened in what might have been a smile. We learn the languages of all who come here. It makes testing easier. As they walked through wide hallways, Hyun noticed things she had missed yesterday. The walls had patterns that looked like battle maps. The doors were thick, like they could seal off sections of the ship quickly. And there were weapons, not displayed openly, but hidden in wall panels that didn't quite match the rest. This wasn't just a diplomatic ship. It was a warship disguised as one. Have you been with the Stellar Assembly long? Hyun asked Talo. My people joined 3 cycles ago, Talo said. We failed the first test like most do, but we passed the second. What is the second test? Talo's steps faltered for just a moment. It is different for each species. It tests different things. They entered a large room where many aliens sat eating. Some had food Hyun recognized, fruits what looked like bread. Others ate things that moved or glowed. The testing candidates eat here, Talo explained, pointing to a table where 3 other beings sat. You are the newest. Hyun got a tray of food that looked safe to eat and joined the others. One had blue skin and no hair. Another looked like a tall insect. The third was almost human, except for eyes that reflected light like a cat's. I am Do from Earth, Hyun said, using her family name as was custom in first meetings. Vril, said the blue one. From Tarsus. Kef, clicked the insect-like being. Lonnie, said the one with cat eyes. Your world is new to the Assembly's attention? Hyun nodded. We made contact 3 months ago. The other 3 exchanged looks. That is very recent, said Vril. Most worlds are observed for years before contact. Before Hyun could ask what that meant, Ambassador Krell entered with Director Voris and 4 guards. The guards were a new species, tall, with thick arms and armor that seemed part of their bodies. Candidates, today begins your evaluation, announced Krell. You will be tested on how you resolve conflicts, how you negotiate, how you see other species and their needs. Voris stepped forward. For some of you, this is your first test. For others, a second chance. Remember, there is always a peaceful solution. Those who find it will join our great community. Hyun noticed how the other candidates lowered their eyes when Voris spoke. All except Lonnie, who glanced at Hyun with a look that said, be careful. After breakfast, Hyun was led to a small room with a single chair facing a large screen. Krell waited there. Your first scenario, Captain Hyun. 2 species share a planet. One lives in the oceans, one on land. The land species has built factories that pollute the water. The ocean species is dying. How do you solve this without conflict? The screen showed the planet. Beautiful blue oceans, green lands, and dark smoke rising from cities. Hyun thought carefully. This seemed simple, but she sensed a trap. Before I answer, she said, I need to know one thing. Are both species part of the Stellar Assembly? Krell's face showed surprise, then something like respect. No, Captain. The land species is a member. The ocean species is not. And with that one answer, Hyun knew exactly what kind of test this really was. Hyun looked at the screen showing the polluted planet. She now understood that this wasn't just a test about solving a problem. It was a test about loyalties. I would first meet with both species, she said carefully. Both the land and ocean people deserve to be heard. Krell's face showed nothing. The land species says their factories cannot be changed. They need them to live. What do you do? Hyun thought about Earth's own history with pollution. There is always a way to make factories cleaner. I would offer technology to filter the waste. Both species can live if they work together. But the land species refuses, Krell pushed. They say their economic growth is more important than some primitive ocean dwellers who aren't even part of the assembly. Now Hyun saw the true test. They wanted to know if she would favor assembly members over outsiders. Then I would speak. To the Assembly Council, she said firmly. No species has the right to kill another member or not. If the assembly truly stands for peace, it should protect all intelligent life. Krell's eyes narrowed. Even if it means forcing an assembly member to change? Even then, Hyun said, real peace cannot be built on the suffering of others. The screen went blank. Interesting approach, Captain, Krell said. Most candidates suggest the ocean species should relocate or adapt. You chose a more complex path. Throughout the day, Hyun faced more scenarios. Each one had the same pattern. An assembly member in conflict with a non-member. Each time the easy answer was to favor the member. Each time, Hyun refused. By evening she was tired. She sat in the dining hall, barely touching her food. The other candidates kept their distance from her now, all except Lonnie, who sat down across from her. You're failing, Lonnie said quietly. Hyun looked up. You speak as if you know the right answers. I do. Lonnie's cat-like eyes darted around. This is my second attempt. I failed last time because I answered like you are now. With fairness? Hyun asked. With independence, Lonnie corrected. The assembly doesn't want fair judges. They want loyal ones. Members first, outsiders last. Before Hyun could ask more, Voris entered the hall. Captain Hyun, please come with me. Hyun followed her to a large room where Krell waited with what looked like a council of 12 different aliens. They sat in a half-circle, looking down at her. Captain Ju Hyun of Earth, Krell announced. We have reviewed your peace test responses. One of the council members, a tall being with skin-like bark, spoke. In the mining rights dispute, you suggested equal sharing of resources. In the territorial conflict, you proposed new borders that reduced assembly territory, said another, whose body seemed made of light. And in the trade dispute, you insisted on fair prices for non-member worlds, added a third. Krell stepped forward. Captain Hyun, your answers show a troubling pattern. You place fairness above loyalty. You treat non-members and members as equals. This is not how peace is maintained in our community. Hyun stood straight, her hands behind her back. Then perhaps we define peace differently. Indeed. Krell's voice grew cold. Peace requires order. Order requires hierarchy. The assembly sits at the top of that hierarchy. I thought the assembly stood for cooperation among equals, Hyun said. Dissent. Council members made sounds, clicks, hums, and whispers that might have been laughter. A common misconception, Krell said. One we allow potential members to believe, until they prove themselves worthy of the truth. He touched a screen, and a large red mark appeared next to Hyun's name. Captain Ju Hyun, you have failed the peace test. You have shown yourself too independent, too focused on individual rights rather than collective harmony. Hyun felt her heart sink, thinking of Earth waiting for good news, but part of her had expected this. What happens now? She asked. Usually, failed candidates return home with the news that their world is not ready for membership, Krell said. But Earth presents unique concerns. The Council has decided you will remain here for additional assessment. Hyun's training told her this wasn't normal, this wasn't good. What kind of assessment, she asked. Krell's smile didn't reach his eyes. One more suited to your talents, Captain. After all, you are a soldier, not a diplomat. Guards took Hyun back to her room. This time they locked the door. She was no longer a guest. She was a prisoner. Hyun sat on her bed, thinking. She had been prepared for failure. General Park had warned her before she left Earth. They arrived. Too quickly, he had said. Advanced races would study us first, maybe for years. These aliens came right away. That's not caution, that's hunger. Now she needed to know what they really wanted from Earth. She waited 3 hours until the ship's lights dimmed for night cycle. Then she pulled off the heel of her boot. Inside was a tiny device no bigger than her fingernail. Earth's best technology, hidden from the alien scans. She placed it against the wall near the door controls. The device lit up green, then red, then green again. The door didn't open, but that wasn't Hyun's goal. She was now connected to the ship's information system. Hyun put her boot back on and took out the small data pad she had been given to study assembly history. It looked normal, but it wasn't. General Park's engineers had modified it. She turned it on and touched a hidden pattern on the screen. The display changed, showing the ship's network instead of assembly texts. "Let's see what you're hiding," she whispered. For 2 hours she searched through files. Most were locked, but some weren't. She found records of other species who had joined the assembly. Each told the same story: first contact, tests, failed peace tests, then a second test, different for each species. After that, membership, but not as equals. One file caught her eye. Earth Threat Assessment. She opened it and felt her blood go cold. Human adaptability presents unusual concerns, it read. Technological progress rate exceeds safe parameters. Military thinking embedded in civilian structures. Recommendation: containment or controlled integration. There was more, a star map showing assembly ships. Not just the testing vessel, but a fleet hiding behind Mars. Weapons powered down but ready, and a message from Krell to Assembly High Command. If Earth candidate fails secondary assessment, recommend immediate pacification of major military centers. Human weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Casualties will be high but acceptable for long-term security. They were planning to attack Earth. A soft knock made Hyun quickly shut off the pad. The door opened, and Talo slipped in. "You should not be here," Hyun said. "I should not," Talo agreed. "But neither should you. You were supposed to go home after failing the peace test." "Why am I still here?" Talo's scales shifted colors from green to blue. "Because Earth frightens them. Most species who fail are too weak to be threats. Earth is not weak." "How do you know this?" "Because my world was strong too." Talo's eyes looked sad. "We failed the peace test. Then they gave us the second test, the compatibility assessment. We passed by showing we would accept assembly rule. Now my people mine resources for assembly worlds and fight in assembly wars." "You're slaves," Hyun said. "We are junior members," Talo corrected. "But yes, we serve. Those who refused were killed when our main cities were destroyed from orbit. Now I work for them, watching new candidates. Why tell me this? Because I saw your military medals. Your people fight. Mine did too." Talo moved closer. "There is a group, from many worlds, who work against the Assembly's control. We call ourselves the Free Worlds Network." Hyun studied Talo's face. "Why should I trust you?" "You shouldn't, but you need allies and I need hope." Talo pressed something into Hyun's hand. "If you truly want to save Earth, you must pass the second test while appearing to submit. This will help you send messages home." After Talo left, Hyun looked at the small device in her hand. It looked like a medical patch. She needed to warn Earth. The tests were just a way to judge if humans would make good servants or if they needed to be destroyed. But to send that warning, she would need to stay alive and play along with whatever came next. Hyun waited until the ship's quiet hours to use Talo's device. It was a small patch that stuck to her skin behind her ear. When she pressed it, a tiny screen appeared in the air in front of her eyes. Only she could see it. "Earth Defense Command," she whispered. Nothing happened. The device wasn't powerful enough to reach Earth directly. Instead, she used it to explore more of the ship's systems. She found a way to send a short message through the ship's regular communications. She would need to be careful. They would be watching for unusual signals. Her fingers moved quickly across the floating screen. She wrote a coded message that would look like system noise to the aliens, but would mean something to General Park. "Trade agreement unfavorable," Orion Protocol advised. On Earth, they would understand. Orion Protocol was their plan for hostile first contact. It meant prepare for attack but show no signs of preparation. As morning came, Hyun hid the device and prepared for whatever test was next. Her door opened, and Lonnie stood there. "They want us to eat together today," Lonnie said. Her voice was flat, like she was being listened to. In the dining hall, Hyun noticed something different. Now there were only 4 candidates left. Herself, Lonnie, Vril, and Kef. The others were gone. "Where are the rest?" Hyun asked quietly. "Sent home," Lonnie whispered. "They failed completely." Voris entered the room. "Remaining candidates, today begins your compatibility assessment. You have all failed the peace test, but the assembly sees potential in each of you." Hyun caught Lonnie's eye. The cat-eyed alien gave a tiny headshake. A warning. After breakfast, guards took each candidate to a different room. Hyun's room had a large simulator chair in the center. It looked like the training pods used on Earth for pilot training. Krell was waiting. "Captain, Hyun, this test is different from the last. It will measure how you respond to threats against your people." Hyun sat in the chair. Metal bands closed around her wrists and ankles. "Is this necessary?" she asked, keeping her voice calm despite the fear rising inside her. "For your safety," Krell said, not sounding sorry at all. "The simulation can feel very real." A helmet lowered over Hyun's head. The world went dark, then lit up with a perfect copy of Earth's Defense Command Center. It felt real. She could smell the coffee and feel the cool air. A map showed red dots appearing around Earth, alien ships. A voice that sounded like General Park spoke. "Captain, alien forces are moving toward Earth cities. They demand we surrender all military control to them. What are your orders?" Hyun knew this was a test to see how humans would fight. They wanted to know Earth's strategies, its weaknesses. She remembered Talo's words. "Pass the test while appearing to submit. Open communications," she said. "Tell them we will discuss terms." The simulation shifted. Now she was in a meeting. Room with assembly representatives. They demanded Earth's weapons, control of its governments, and access to all resources. "And if we refuse?" Simulation Hyun asked. "Then we will take what we need," the alien said. "Your cities will burn first, then your farms. You will surrender in the end, but millions will die." Hyun wanted to fight in the simulation, but that would tell the real aliens watching exactly how humans would defend themselves. Instead, she made a show of reluctantly agreeing to their terms, while inserting small delays, asking questions about details, requesting time to consult with Earth leaders. After hours in the simulation, it finally ended. The helmet lifted. "Interesting," Krell said. "Most species either fight immediately or surrender completely. You tried to delay." "Humans value life," Hyun said, choosing her words carefully. "We would rather talk than fight." "Yet your history is full of wars," Krell noted. "We learn from our mistakes," Hyun said. As guards took her back to her room, she passed a viewing area. Inside, she saw the alien council watching recordings of her test. One noticed her and closed the door quickly, but not before Hyun saw what was on their other screens. Detailed scans of Earth's defenses, military bases, and government centers. They weren't just testing her. They were planning an attack no matter what she did. That night, Hyun used Talo's device again. This time, she didn't just send a message. She needed data, proof of what the assembly was planning. She found files about Earth, copying what she could. Military assessments, attack plans, a list of targets. Then she found something worse. Files about other worlds that had faced pacification. Images of cities turned to ash. Reports of billions dead. The assembly didn't just conquer. They destroyed anyone who might fight back later. Hyun sent everything to Earth hidden in bursts of data that looked like system checks. She hoped General Park would understand what he was seeing. In the morning, guards came for her again. This time, they took her to a large room she hadn't seen before. Inside were Krell, Voris, and several members of the Alien Council. "Captain Hyun," Krell said, "your preliminary assessment shows interesting results." "Does that mean I passed?" Hyun asked, keeping her voice neutral. "Not yet," said Voris. "Today begins your final test." A large screen showed images of Earth. Beautiful blue oceans, green forests, busy cities full of people. The compatibility assessment has 3 phases, Krell explained. Yesterday was the first, how you respond to threats. Today is the second, how you adapt to changing situations. Hyun was taken to another simulator. This one was different, more like a small room than a chair. Inside was what looked like a control center with screens showing space around Earth. This simulator will present a series of challenges, Voris said. How you respond will tell us if humans can adapt to assembly. Protocols. The door closed, leaving Hyun alone. The screens lit up showing assembly ships approaching Earth. A message appeared. Scenario 1. Assembly peacekeeping forces request permission to establish bases on Earth to protect human interests from external threats. As Earth's representative, provide response. Hyun knew what they wanted to hear. They wanted her to welcome these peacekeepers who would really be invaders. But she also needed to appear cooperative. Earth welcomes assembly protection, she said carefully. But we request more information about base locations and numbers of personnel before final approval. The screens changed. Now they showed assembly ships landing near major cities. Scenario 2. Minor resistance from local military forces. Assembly. Peacekeepers advise full stand-down of all Earth defenses. As Earth's representative, provide response. This was harder. They wanted to see if she would order Earth's military to surrender. If she said yes too easily, they would know she was lying. If she refused, they might attack sooner. I advise Earth forces to maintain normal readiness but avoid confrontation, she said. Assembly representatives and Earth leaders should meet immediately to coordinate. For hours, the scenarios continued. Each one pushed her to give up more. Earth control to the assembly. Each time, Hyun balanced between appearing cooperative and buying time. Finally, the last scenario appeared. Scenario 10. Assembly Council has determined Earth requires direct governance for its own protection. Local autonomy will be maintained for non-military matters. All defense and space capabilities must transfer to assembly control within 48 hours. Non-compliance will result in limited strikes on military targets. As Earth's representative, provide response. This was it. They wanted her to surrender Earth completely. Hyun took a deep breath. She needed to seem reasonable but not too eager. I understand the Assembly's concerns, she said. Earth will comply with the transition of defense systems but requests a 72-hour window for proper handover protocols. This will ensure a smooth transfer without accidents or misunderstandings. The simulator went dark. The door opened, and Krell stood there with several council members. Very interesting, Captain Hyun, Krell said. You consistently chose delay over direct resistance. Is this a human trait? We like to be careful with important decisions, Hyun said. Or perhaps you were playing for time, said a council member. Hyun hadn't met before. This one had eyes that seemed to look through her. Time for what? Hyun asked innocently. That, said Krell, is what our final test will determine. Hyun was given 1 day to rest before the final test. She used this time to explore more of the ship's files using Talo's device. She needed to know what the final test would be. What she found made her blood run cold. The final test wasn't a test at all. It was a trap. Files showed that no species ever passed all 3 phases. The 3rd phase always ended the same way, with the candidate agreeing to complete surrender. Those who agreed became slave worlds. Those who refused faced attack. Hyun sent one last message to Earth. Trap confirmed. Orion Protocol Phase 2. This meant they will attack no matter what. Prepare for immediate defense. That night, Talo visited her again. The council is concerned about you, Talo whispered. They think you are hiding something. What happens in the final test? Hyun asked. It's different for each species, Talo said. For mine, they threatened our children. For the Virax, they promised to cure a disease they had actually created. For humans, Talo paused. I don't know, but it will target what they think is your weakness, and if I pass? No one passes, Captain. They either break you or destroy you. In the morning, guards took Hyun to a new room. This one had no windows. In the center was a chair that looked more like a torture device than a simulator. Straps for arms, legs, and head, wires and tubes. Krell and the entire council waited for her. Captain Hyun, Krell said. The final phase is different. Instead of simulations, we will show you reality. Hyun was strapped into the chair, needles inserted into her arms. A helmet covered her eyes. This will connect you directly to our ship's sensors, Vorse explained. You will see what is happening right now. The helmet activated. Hyun saw space around Earth, assembly ships moving into attack position. This wasn't a simulation. It was real. Captain, your final test is simple, Krell's voice said in her ear. Earth has been judged too dangerous to join the assembly as a junior member. Its military thinking and rapid advancement present unacceptable risks. The view zoomed in on Earth's cities. Hyun could see people walking, living their normal lives, unaware of the danger above. However, the Council offers one option, Krell continued. Complete surrender. Earth will be demilitarized, its technology controlled, its resources shared, but its people will live. The view changed to show assembly weapons targeting major cities. If you refuse, we begin strikes in 1 hour. Millions will die in the first wave. Billions in the following days. Earth will fall regardless, but at what cost? Krell's voice was almost gentle now. One word from you saves all those lives. Surrender. Hyun's heart raced. Was this real or another test? She couldn't be sure, but she had to assume it was real. I need to speak with Earth's leaders, she said. They must agree to this, not just me. There is no time, Vorse said. The attack begins in 1 hour. Only you can stop it. Hyun closed her eyes. If this was real, Earth needed time. If it was a test, she needed to appear broken, but not too quickly. Show me, she said. Show me the exact targets, the exact demands. Let me understand what surrender looks like before I agree. The images changed, showing lists of cities marked for destruction, military bases, government centers, then lists of demands, Earth's complete disarmament, assembly control of all technology, resource quotas. As they showed her these things, Hyun was memorizing something else, their ship positions, their weapon systems, the timing of their planned attack. I need time to think, she said, her voice breaking just enough to sound defeated. You have 10 minutes, Krell said. Then we need your answer. When they left her alone, Hyun closed her eyes. If her messages had reached Earth, General Park would know what was coming. The defense plans would be activated. But would it be enough? The Assembly's technology was far beyond Earth's. As the minutes ticked down, Hyun made her decision. Not for the Assembly, but for Earth. Krell and the Council returned. The screen still showed assembly ships ready to attack Earth. Your time is up, Captain Hyun, Krell said. What is your answer? Surrender or watch your world burn? Hyun looked at the screens, then at the alien, faces watching her. She saw no mercy there, no room for real negotiation. I need to speak directly to my leaders, Hyun said. They won't accept surrender from just one person. There is no time, Krell said, his patience clearly running out. Decide now. Hyun took a deep breath. Then I have a question first. Why Earth? Why did you come to us so quickly after discovering us? Krell looked surprised by the question. You know why. Your people advanced too quickly. Your weapons improved too fast. In a century you might challenge us. Hyun nodded slowly. So this was never about peace. It was about fear. Caution, Vorse corrected. The Assembly has survived for 10,000 years because we eliminate threats before they become dangers. I understand now, Hyun said. She lowered her head, as if defeated. I will agree to Earth's surrender, but on one condition. Let me be the one to tell my people. Let me help them accept their new place. The council members looked at each other. This was not the answer they expected. Perhaps, Krell said slowly. We have misjudged you, Captain. He touched a control, and the helmet's connection to Hyun's mind deepened. Now she could feel the ship around her, see through its sensors more clearly. "I will allow you to address Earth," Krell said. "From our command center, the attack is postponed for 30 minutes. Guards took Hyun to a large room filled with alien technology. Screens showed Earth from every angle. Assembly ships moved into final attack positions. "You may speak," Krell said, activating a communication channel to Earth. This was the moment Hyun had been waiting for. She touched a small control panel near her hand. "Earth Defense Command, this is Captain Hyun," she said clearly. "I am aboard the assembly command ship. I can see their attack fleet moving into position around our world." Krell stood straighter. This didn't sound like a surrender speech. "For 3 days," Hyun continued, "I have been sending data about assembly ships, weapons, and plans. Their fleet hides behind Mars. Their shields are strongest at the front but weak at engine points. Their weapons take 40 seconds to recharge between firing." "Stop this!" Krell shouted, moving to cut the transmission. But Hyun wasn't speaking. To Earth through their communication system. While connected to the ship's sensors, she had linked the signal through Talo's device directly to Earth's military frequency. "They plan to hit military bases first, then government centers," Hyun continued quickly. "They have 12 ships all positioned at these coordinates." Vorus reached the controls and cut the transmission. Krell's face was filled with rage. "You never intended to surrender," he said. "No more than you intended to accept us as equals," Hyun replied. "You have doomed your world," Vorus said. "Our ships will begin the attack immediately." "Look at your sensors," Hyun said calmly. The screens changed to show space around the assembly fleet. At first nothing seemed different. Then one by one small lights appeared. Dozens, then hundreds. "What are those?" a council member asked, voice shaking. "Earth ships," Hyun said. "Hidden behind the moon. Waiting." "Impossible," Krell whispered. "Your technology isn't advanced enough for us to not detect them." "I told you humans learn quickly," Hyun said. "We've been watching the stars for centuries, waiting for friends or enemies. When you arrived, we hoped for friends. But we prepared for enemies." The screens showed more Earth ships appearing, surrounding the assembly fleet. "Your ships are impressive," Hyun continued. "But now they're trapped between Earth and our fleet." Krell stared at the screens in disbelief. "How did you warn them? We monitored all communications." Hyun smiled. "I didn't need to warn them. They already knew. That's why they sent me. Not to take your test, but to give you ours." The command center fell silent. On the screens, Earth ships moved closer to the assembly fleet. For the first time, Krell looked afraid. "You tricked us," he said. "No," Hyun replied. "We studied you, just as you studied us." The largest screen lit up with a new face, General Park. Seeing him made Hyun stand taller. "This is General Park of Earth Defense Command," he said. "To the assembly fleet, power down your weapons immediately, or we will take defensive action." Krell looked at the council members. Their confidence was gone. "You can't defeat us," Vorus said, but her voice shook. "Our technology is far beyond yours." "Is it?" General Park asked. "Our scans show your ships have the same weaknesses," Captain Hyun reported. "Your shields can't stop our new particle weapons, the ones we developed after studying the data she sent." Hyun smiled inside. Earth had received every message. "How long have you known about us?" Krell demanded. "We detected your observation drones 3 years ago," General Park said. "When you made contact, we knew you had been watching. Real friends don't. Watch from shadows." On the screens, Earth ships targeted the assembly fleet. Not just a few ships, but hundreds. They had been building in secret, preparing for this day. "You have 30 seconds to power down weapons," General Park said, "or we will disable your ships. Not destroy. Disable. Unlike you, we don't massacre those we can talk to." The council members turned to Krell. He had no answers now. "Power down weapons," he ordered finally. The assembly fleet's lights dimmed as their weapons went offline. Earthships moved closer, surrounding them completely. "Captain Hyun represents Earth now," General Park said. You will deal with her. Hyun looked at the aliens who had tested her, judged her, and planned to destroy her world. Now they waited for her judgment. The assembly has existed for 10,000 years, she said. In that time, how many worlds have you conquered? How many species have you enslaved or destroyed? We brought order, Krell said weakly. You brought fear, Hyun corrected. That ends today. She turned to the screens showing the council members. Earth offers new terms, she said. First, all assembly ships will withdraw from our solar system except for one diplomatic vessel. Second, all enslaved worlds will be given freedom to choose their own paths. Third, a new council will form with equal representation from all species. Impossible, Forrest cried. The assembly can adapt or it can end, Hyun said simply. Those are your choices. Talo entered the command center with several other aliens, members of the Free Worlds Network. Many worlds wait for this day, Talo said. The day when someone stands against the assembly and wins. We don't want to destroy what you've built, Hyun said to the council. A community of worlds is a good dream, but it must be built on respect, not fear. One council member stepped forward. This one looked older than the others, with skin like old paper. I have seen 12 worlds destroyed, by assembly order, the old alien said. Each time we said it was necessary. Perhaps we were wrong. Slowly, other council members nodded. We will consider your terms, Krell said finally. 6 Earth ships docked with the assembly vessel. Soldiers came aboard to secure the ship and free the other test candidates. General Park's face appeared on a small screen just for Hyun. Well done, Captain, he said. When we sent you, we hoped you would discover their secrets. We never expected you would change the galaxy. Hyun looked around at the aliens watching her, some with fear, some with hope. I failed their peace test, she said. But it wasn't a real test of peace. It was a test of submission. And their other test? Park asked. The one they called the Massacre exam? Hyun finished. It tested if we would surrender or fight when threatened with destruction. She looked at Krell, who now understood how completely he had been outplayed. I think I passed that one, Hyun said. With honors.